Yo, what is up? Can you hear me now? What about now? Did that fix it? You can hear me now? Okay, cool. I don't know. It like kicked my mic off of my stream. I don't know. OBS is weird, man. I'm sorry, guys. It like I have a new source now for a mic, which is stupid. But okay. I don't get that at all. Okay, we should be good then. Sorry about that. That's so weird. Why would it kick my mic off? Like, I have my old mic. It says it's working fine on here, but it's like not. Yeah, it's super weird. I literally can see the volume of my mic, like, on here. That's so weird. It says everything is on. I don't get it. Okay. Aside from that mystery, that's weird. We solved that. We solving problems today. We solving problems. Anyone want to get a game while we're waiting? Chess lesson is in like 15 minutes, so I'd like to play a game with one of you guys. Shoot me an invite. We'll switch over to the chess lesson, like I said, in maybe like 10 or 15. You guys know what to do. If I don't get you on this one, I'll get you on the next one. I'll play at least... I could probably get in at least 2 Blitz games. Oh, you can send it standard. You can just send a regular chess game. Why am I so Italian? I wish I was more Italian. I love pizza. I'm a huge pizza fan. Oh, you can send it normal, Nick. Yeah, just a regular game. Usually I just want to play regular. I mean, occasionally when I ask, like, to play 960 or if we're doing that kind of thing, that's kind of what we got going on. I look like a delicious pizza? Well, that's crazy. You must be really hungry, because I don't think I look anything like pizza. But I think that your head's in the right place, and maybe you just need some dinner or some lunch or whatever time it is of the day for you. Some food probably hit the spot. I have a clay pizza back there that I made. I think it's kind of cool. This is not what I've trained for. We shall castle. Nick is playing very fast. Very quickly. Very quickly. So, I mean, he's attacking my knight. I don't really want to take. That's probably not what's going to happen here. But I also don't want him to set up any craziness. Like, his bishop coming here probably isn't an issue. At that point, I think I would take. I don't want to do that, though. Let's not think too hard about it. Let's just make some solid moves. If he wants to take the knight, that's okay. Mr. Nick being offensive, dude. I love it. I love it. He's so strong. Nick is killing it. He is playing strong. It's crazy. I'm so proud of you. Let's play kind of quickly. He's playing the game against me, Fundy. Well, he's playing the game. That's why he can't hear you right now. So if I do this, he takes... Or I could, like, really load the knight in. I've never played this way. I don't think this is how I should be playing, but... I did read it, Fundy. I did. Okay. My boy is playing super solid right now. Very proud of him. It's crazy, actually. Crazy. He's playing really well. Has a lot of variations and bad for low ELO. He's trying his best. He's doing good. Like, this is the most solid. Like, he is so impressive the way he plays sometimes. Like, this is so solid. So solid. Look at this man. I can't actually take the pawn right now, but his queen is doing a job. He's playing so well. Super proud of him right now. This is crazy. Crazy. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. But literally up until that moment, that was a crazy played game. I need to not pre-move. What are you talking about? We didn't talk. That was a whole different day. Nick comes in. We streamed yesterday. Nick comes in every day. Dude, that was like the best game Nick's, like one of the best games Nick's ever played against me too. Like he killed it that game. Killed it. You executed a great checkmate attack, capitalizing on your advantage to secure the... The computer was talking to me. Yeah, I just played a really, like, high accuracy game, but I think you played amazing. Dude, super GG, Nick. That was so good, dude. I mean, what the heck? When you're locked in, man, you're not, I don't know how you're rated 124. You should be way better. Dude, no, it's okay. Dude, that was the only mistake you made the whole game. You didn't make any other mistakes. You had one blunder. That was it. And that was just that last move. Dude, you played so well. So good. That was amazing. I'm so proud of you. Dude, you played so well. Look at this, like, just, like you were... you played better moves than me for a lot of the game. Like, you played good. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, okay, like, put pressure on. Look, the computer doesn't like that I did that. You started to mess up a little bit here, like I was a little better here, because I'm up a pawn. And also, I don't know, I just have some things, but, you know, you have a solid position. I kind of figured you might do that, and that was the blunder, right? So that was the only mistake. You did amazing. Good job, Nick. Just to go back, you know, the computer wanted you to bring the bishop back. It's kind of a weird move. I wouldn't say that you would do that, but you can't do this though. If you did want to do something, you could put the queen here and then do something like that. Because that way you have the extra defender of the rook. So if your queen came to this square, you could do something like that. But I don't know if that's a good move either. So just refresh, Nick. Just refresh. At least on my end, it should be running good. Is anyone having issues? At least on my end, everything looks good. That is awesome. 2500 bullet is no joke. Okay, yeah, I didn't think it was running bad. I put a lot of work in to make sure it worked good this time. I hate when I click on the stream and I go to stream and then my just frame rates drop on my computer. So I fixed that. It should be good. Somebody else can send me, we can do one more game, and then actually we honestly need to switch over probably. I love Gengar, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, Z-Mod. Yeah, you did really good, Nick. That was a stupidly well-played game by you. Like, you played so well. The opening was no problem. You didn't like pose me any questions really, but you were really solid. You were fine. You played like that was a really good game. Really good. Ugh. I think we're gonna have to get ready to switch over to chess lesson time. Hopefully you guys enjoy today's lesson. I actually don't know what we're going over, but do not know what we're going over. I don't know why I keep clicking away from the screen. Let's see. This, I will get the music probably turned off here in just a minute. My hair is crazy right now. I got the worst hat hair in the world. Tell I've been wearing my fedora all day. I look like somebody from the 80s or something. Let's jump into our call with let's plug in. All right. So we're in here. Yep, we're gonna be calling Mr. Chile. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure we're good for the lesson. He usually lets me know if something comes up and he can't make it. But let's message him just to make sure. I'm pretty sure he's down to cool. Let's call him. Let's call him. I might have to play with the audio. Yo, what's up, dude? Oh man, living the dream. Living the dream. Let me double check that audio is okay. Can you speak, please? Sorry. Yes, is that okay? Okay. I put you in the title, but I also put your YouTube channel link in the description of the video. So. Yeah, I have no idea how to say it. How is it spelled? Apophenia. Okay. Yeah, it's mostly because I'm being lazy and not reading it correctly, probably, but I just look at it. I'm like Apophenia. I don't know. It just sounds cool. I didn't know what it was. Right. Let me I'm having trouble getting your audio captured for some reason. Let me dig into this real quick. For some reason my OBS has been like messing all my settings up. It made me like make a new mic source right now to even like for my channel to hear. Dude, it just messed all my stuff up. I'm like, what is happening? Like, yeah, and I have no audio for you right now. Like, I can hear you, obviously, right? But like, I don't think anyone else can. Um, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Just give me a minute. Did you have a good week? Right. Why not? I don't even know how to get your audio on here right now. Like, so I'm not capturing your audio in OBS. Do you know why that would be? Th- this is bothering me so bad right now. What the heck? Um, okay. Jesus Christ. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Use your brain, Nolan. Use your brain. It's like not grabbing any of your audio for some reason. Um, yeah, and it's not even doing that. That's what I'm like. Speak again real quick. No. That is a wild. I like that. That was a good sentence. That was like something I would have said back when I was like 6 or 7, probably. Like in that exact phrasing. Now, granted, I still love skateboarding to this day, but I think the way that you said it is how I would have said it back then. Oh, I don't know how to get the. Oh, you broke your arm and got on the skateboard again? Oh my gosh. Chat, y'all cannot hear him, correct? Because I'm having trouble. Y'all can't hear him? I'm sorry. They're just watching. I probably seem crazy to them. I'm just sitting here talking to talking to an invisible person. Why? I'm so sorry, Chili. Just give me. If I can't solve it here in just a minute, we will just. I guess I'll just not stream it or whatever. We'll just do it ourselves. I don't know if that would help me. If I can't find it right now, I don't know how. Like, I don't know why it's not working. Basically, the only thing I would do is just reset my whole computer. Um, at this point, because everything in my audio track is should be working. Like, it's kind of weird that it's not. Um,
If I call you, it would work. Let's try that
hold
real
on.
quick.
Speak.
Yeah, what about now?
Okay, that should be working. Y'all hear that now, right?
Okay, let me know.
Yeah, that should be working. What's up, Raptor? I'm sorry. We're having technical difficulties, but this should be working now. Yeah, okay.
Cool.
So, there you go. We fixed it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm a
So you
genius
guys can
today,
hear me,
bro.
right?
I've solved so many problems. This is
You only like
obnoxious.
you.
Obnoxious today. Okay.
Nice. Well, we got it working in the end. That's what matters.
Yes, it is. All right. Can hear
So
him
send
now.
your study link.
Yep. I'm joining now and
Cool.
all right, guys, chess lesson time. I'm going to be talking less. We're going to be listening more. Let's go. Take it away.
Okay. So today we are going to be looking at something very central. And what inspired this lesson was I saw you play the game of Alarm, and you were playing your line with d4, like d4, c4, and then knight c3.
Yes.
And you got some really interesting positions. So this is kind of something really cool that you can use to apply to kind of make the game, you could say more stale in a sense. but it's very rich in game plans, and that's something that's really beneficial if you're facing someone which is higher rated than you, because you have like an arsenal of game plans you can go for. It's very flexible as a system, and just because an opening is equal, it doesn't mean it's bad. Like you'll see people playing like oh, this is a bad opening because you only get this advantage in comparison to another line where you'd get more of an advantage. Well, it doesn't really matter because you can win in any position, right? So as long as you know what you're doing and you can best your opponent, you should be good. And yeah, it's really practical as well for learning. And this is the Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. And if you guys remember correctly, this was one of the lines that Ding Liren beat the other contender for world champion when he got his title of world champion. So, and that was an interesting game. That was a really cool game. So basically, how it goes is what you'd expect. So d4, d5, c4, e6, Queen's Gambit, declined, knight c3, knight f6, and the exchange variation is where white is going to take once. So we're going to take, and they're going to take us back. And what this does for us is it creates a very big imbalance in the pawn structure. And we see that white gets this formation here on the king side, and the black gets this formation here on the queen side. And this whole setup here is called the Carlsbad structure. And you would get this a lot in, for example, the lots of Caro-Kann positions or Slav positions, I guess. So this is very cool and applicable. So now what should we do? Well, of course, if we're following principles, we should play bishop g5, get our bishop out. They'll do the same and play bishop e7, and as you'd expect, e3. And then this is like the Carlsbad structure reached. Is where we have this cool imbalance here, kind of like a DNA thing going on here, and it's a really interesting position because of how many plans that this allows due to the pawn structure. So in chess, every kind of strategic plan will be defined by the pawn structure that you have to work with, and that is true to every single opening. What happens is it changes from opening to opening the ideas you play for. So what can we achieve from this structure here? Well, specifically here we can reach 4 different game plans, which is insane. 4 game plans is a lot. And it's cool because if one of them goes wrong, you can always apply the other. And we'll see throughout these games today that this happens effectively. Like, sometimes a plan doesn't go accordingly, and then you see these grandmasters switch up to plan B, and then they just win the game. So let's continue. Queen c2, and castles, bishop d3, just very normal developments, but these are all the standard developing squares for this opening. Knight bd7 you'll see, and sometimes you'll see knight f3 here, and sometimes you'll see knight g2, and we're going to talk about knight g2 later on. So for now, knight f3, and this is somehow what the game would look like. Rook e8, castles, and here a really cool maneuver which is characteristic of this opening. What do you think is black's worst piece here?
Their light squared bishop. Maybe, or
well,
maybe their rook or something. But
yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily this bishop, because it can always be good for, like, I don't know, maybe bishop g4, or maybe there's a pawn up and there's a sacrifice idea here, or maybe we get a chance to play like bishop to f5 at some point. So not necessarily is the bishop bad, and it's not the French bishop which is locked in by a structure like this.
It can get out still.
Yeah. So it's not the worst piece in the world. The worst piece is actually this knight.
Okay.
Because it's very clumsy here.
It's in the
right?
way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the way. So we need to figure out a way to get this knight to a better square. And this is one of the cool features of playing Rook e8, because a very thematic idea here is
Knight
for you to play
f8.
Knight f8.
Yeah.
There we go. And this is just a powerhouse of a square, and it controls h7. So there could
No
maybe
mate.
not even, yeah, there's no ideas of bishop to h7, for example. You can play knight g6 to kind of block this up. And I mean, if we ever take, then you get a very safe king. And maybe even at some positions, you could play knight e6, which is a possibility. So this would be a much better square. So these, it's a very flexible move here. h3, knight e4, jumping in. And this is also thematic to these positions. We generally trade these bishops off. These bishops will always be traded off.
Okay.
Unless you want to keep hold of them and play like bishop f4, which is possible. It depends on the position as well, but more times than not, you will probably be forced to take this. Now, let's get into some of the ideas. Let's reach this position here and talk about the game plans we have. So, one of the game plans here is to work on the queen side, and the rest is focused on the center. So, we're not going to go for a kingside attack here. That would be kind of crazy. That's why we rule that out. But the queen side game plan is where we play something like a3, b4, and then b5. And this is what we'll look at first. So how does this unfold? Well, we get d4, d5, same stuff. We get the exact same exchange variation with bishop g5, pinning the knight.
So
Black
what
breaks
makes
the
us
pin.
what makes us take as opposed to what me and you have talked about where we just leave it? Is it because he plays knight to f6 first? Is that why? Or is it just you decide to take there instead?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Didn't catch the question.
Oh, why? What makes us take there as opposed to what me and you have talked about, like in my opening repertoire or whatever, where I just leave it?
Well, generally we would leave it, right?
Right.
Generally we would leave this. It's a possibility. But if you're facing like a really higher rated opponent and you want like a clear strategic plan to go for, this would be something you can play to kind of
Mix it up.
keep the game to a slower pace, and you can still have a clear plan to play for and
Okay.
advantage still.
So
So
there's no move though that like is like, hey, this is why you should take though. It's just kind of like I need to like figure out if I'm playing somebody that's strong, this might give me a nice game against him, is what you're saying.
not necessarily. I'd say it's if you want to work with specific game plans, is the way I would put it.
Okay. So this is just
How,
a different way to go about the opening that we've talked about.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I just wanted to know if there was like a trigger, right? Like if knight to f6 was like, "Oh, yep, we're taking," right?
Yeah, no, there's no trigger,
Okay.
and
Okay.
if you are just playing like a random online game, it's probably best you don't take, right? It's probably best you don't play the exchange variation. Uh, just continue normally, and you'll be fine. So we get this structure because more times than not, we've seen in our games where we studied this structure. If we don't play like bishop g5 here, then we'd have to lock our bishop in. And more times than not, this is better to get castled quicker, like bishop d3, knight f3, and then
Yeah.
we castle.
Against what I've always thought, I've been playing it and I'm fine in most of my games. I would say, like, I mean, in the
Yeah,
opening, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's not like having a French bishop is a capital sin, you know. It's not anything that ruins your game and you're losing on the spot. No, it just means the bishop will take time to develop and become a lot more active. So that's basically it. So bishop g5, they break the pin. We play e3 now. We're ready to get castled. c6, queen c2. Instead of playing bishop d3 or knight f3, castles. Bishop d3 now. There's this immediate threat of playing take, take, and then take, which is why knight b7 is probably going to be played here. Knight f3, rook e8, castles, knight f8. So it's basically the same game. We looked at this exact position, by the way. h3 was also part of this.
yeah.
Knight g6 was one of the moves I mentioned. And this is where you would have to make a decision about how you're going to proceed. And let's talk about first actually all of the game plans, and then we'll dive into this specific one. So we'd reach this position more or less. The game plans would be we either play for a3, b4, and b5, like I talked about. We can play for an immediate e4 pawn break. We can play for the center build up, which is with f3 and e4. And mainly, if you play this, you'd be playing that knight ge2 line I talked about. And this is known as the Botvinnik system. Or you can play for something along the lines of knight e5 and then f4 and keep it closed down. So just have a very strong knight in the center would be what you'd call this. So we're looking at this first, a3, b4, and b5. So in this position after knight g6, what happens here is quite surprising because you generally would not want to trade the bishop for a knight, but in this case it happens as a means to distract this bishop here. And this is very interesting because we distract this bishop from the b4 square, and we usually have to play a3 to support b4. But now that there's nothing defending b4, we can just play b4 immediately, which is interesting. Okay, well, bishop e7, they are now threatening this pawn. We kind of have to push up again. And after bishop d6, getting to a better square, lining up here, we now play b takes and b takes. And this is the whole point of playing this a3, b4, and b5 stuff. It's you want to create this backward pawn, because notice now, this pawn can't push forwards, and if they do, we'll just take it, and they have an isolated pawn now. Which is hard to defend, by the way. So it's really not going to benefit them if they push forwards here. They kind of have to keep this this pawn backward. And as you can see, we already have a queen lined up. We can easily get a knight to blockade this. Let's say knight a4 and knight c5. It's blockaded. So it's really annoying to deal with this pawn, which will be a permanent weakness in the position. So now we actually need to go about attacking this pawn. So, what do you think we should start off with?
Thank you guys for the raid. I appreciate y'all. So I think white to play here that I would try to move a rook to the file was what I was thinking the whole time we were looking at this. But
okay.
Maybe that's not like fast enough. Like, you know, like maybe we have something else in mind. Like, I mean, that knight blocking up, you know, was a good move because it stopped a lot of the things we were thinking about. But maybe getting our knight to a better square, putting it, you can't go knight to e4, so maybe knight to a4 to get to c5 could be a thought.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if we go knight a4, that may be a little bit rushed because he may have ideas of, like, let's say queen a5.
Yeah.
And then he not only attacks this once, but also defends this square, which means knight a5, knight c5 can't come immediately. Okay. So, but it is one of the main ideas to blockade like this. But rook to the file I like.
So yeah, rook to the file.
To which file?
I was gonna say the rook, the A rook over to B, the B file. I guess you could move him to the C file too to double up there. That was the other idea was, you know, you got a C file there and you're trying to attack the pawn.
Very nice.
So
rook b1 is the move I would prefer.
Yeah.
And the reason I prefer this move is because, again, this opening is all about flexibility. And if we play something, this is very subtle, okay? If I play rook ac1, notice how I can't play like rook fc1 now. And this rook kind of doesn't have a good square.
I'm sorry, so I meant to say that if I was going to put a rook on c1, it would have been the f rook, because I do think that, I agree. I'm sorry, I think I didn't say that correctly. But yeah, I meant rook a b1 or rook fc1 was what I meant.
Got it. So yeah, the perfect setup here would be rook a b1 and rook fc1, because these are open files.
Yep.
Sure, this one's semi-open, but there's a clear target, and this one's just fully open for us to take. So this would be more harmonious, you could say. And the way that this game proceeds is very interesting because it's not the move you'd expect. It's knight b1.
Whoa.
Knight b1 is kind of crazy. And the idea is you attack the pawn immediately. Your idea is you want to reroute your knight to d2, and then play for your rooks on the b and c file, which is what we talked about here. So here's a really cool defense. Queen f6. Because now if you just play queen takes c6 and just like don't expect anything, all of a sudden, if you guys see the move, shout it out. The move is bishop h2 check. And then you lose the queen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oops.
That's some shit that I get caught with. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I get comfortable and up material, like something that I do.
Gotta be careful about this. Because it's really, you think, oh, he hung a pawn, and then you just lose the queen.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. So, okay, now we proceed. Knight bd2, which is our plan. h6, rook fc1. And knight e7 is kind of like a hard move. It's not really clear what he wants. Maybe he wants to trade off these bishops, but that doesn't make too much sense. He is defending this, but he blocks in his rook. So that doesn't make too much sense. And we see queen d1 here. The idea is now we like these rooks to come first before the queen attacks. Moreover, there may be some cool tactics here for white. Like let's say we play anything else. There's a really cool tactic here for white if we play like knight b3 here. Can anyone spot the tactic for black?
Huh. So. Oh. I don't see the tactic, but I just was thinking that, I mean, you can develop pieces here, like bishop to maybe like f5 is not the worst, you know, move in the world, right? Because you got a knight that maybe you're like proving why you moved the knight there. I don't know. Like I don't see the tactic. So
once I put it like this, it'll become very simple. Every time we move a piece, we stop defending something and we start attacking something. So what did we start attacking? c5, which we wanted. What did we stop defending?
The knight.
Bam. So maybe it has to do with this.
Okay. Well, hold on. It's not something crazy like sacking the queen, right? Because that seems crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Would be too much.
Yeah. Well, the bishop could totally do some work. The light squared bishop. I don't really see how you would take the knight any other way than to trade it for a piece. I feel silly. I don't know. I don't see it right now. So, they say bishop takes h3 is the move. Good job, Ash.
Bishop takes h3.
Good job, Ash.
And when you take, you win a pawn here for black. So yeah, it's not a crazy tactic. You're not gonna win the game.
No, okay, I did see. I don't know. I was looking for something different, so my bad.
Yeah, it's not game losing, but it is scary, right? There's a queen up in your face,
and you got a bishop who owns the diagonal too. So.
Yeah, you can't walk to any of these squares, and you need to protect this pawn, which isn't that easy. Maybe you have to play something like bishop f1, which is kind of sad. But you know, you take it as it is, and sometimes positions are bad, but you deal with it. So he didn't miss this. He for sure saw this. And by the way, like I said, you can mix plans, and we had this idea of making a backward pawn. Mm-hmm. This has been completed. Maybe we play for e4 now. Maybe you could play e4 here, which turns out to be the best move. Because takes, knight takes, we regain our bishop if we want. Queen e6, and even stronger though is rook e1, just lining up.
So, that's beautiful.
Also,
would you take the dark squared bishop ever, or like is that like the? I mean, because that just gives his queen a square to move to, right? If you do that.
I mean, I would for sure take it. Yeah, nowhere near this good to see rook e1. So yeah, I take the bishop.
Because I guess
Um,
you also have knight to c5, right? In that kind of position too. And you like double attack the queen. But I don't know if that's a better square, maybe, for the knight, or maybe not. Because it blocks the
they all make
queen's
sense.
path.
It's probably the idea is probably to play rook e1 and then knight c5. Actually, this is probably the idea.
Okay.
Or to move somewhere else. I don't know, but yeah, we get this very strong position. Queen d1, defending this tactic. Rook b8, taking control of the file. But now we follow through with our plans of attacking this c6 pawn. And everything is going to be revolving around this pawn, you'll see. Everything is about this pawn. Rook b6, already defending. So this is a bit of a prophylactic move. Rook c2.
To double.
Knight c5.
Oh! He did
Rook
it.
doubles. And here, a game losing in precision, which is very sad. Game losing in precision because it was such a crazy position and the pressure was becoming too much. You had to do something about it. And you've given white a shot. You've given white a shot you really don't want to give. The better move is also not super clear. It's knight h4 and trade off these knights. And then we'd play queen f3 and defend this square and any sacrifice ideas. So yeah, it is kind of stale for black here, not gonna lie. It's not looking too good for them, but it's also not looking spectacular for us, right? We still have a lot of work to do with this pawn here. So it's even here. It's very even. But king g7 is not even, for sure. And here is played knight a4, which attacks the rook and attacks the pawn for a discovered attack. So you have to move the rook. Rook moves here. Now the question is this pawn defended? No. Can we capture it now is the question.
Yes, because your
What do you
queen
think?
defends the knight.
Is
Well,
there any other
okay.
resource or threat that black can make here to try and make this move bad?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm blind tonight. I'm just having trouble seeing anything. I don't see why you couldn't.
In
Uh,
last lesson, we talked about initiative,
yeah.
and right now, white has had the initiative for the past couple of moves, like knight a4 is forcing, and if we play rook takes c6, that's definitely forcing. But whenever you take a pawn, a free pawn, there's going to be some kind of backlash to that, and there's going to be some consequences, possibly. So we need to see if they can punish us for this move. So is there anything that can threaten our pieces or try and take the initiative really aggressively?
They were talking about a bishop move, like playing bishop to maybe like b7 or something, or
Yeah.
that would
The better
obviously
square
attack
is
our rook, but
the better square is actually to play bishop d7 because now you
it
don't only
attacks
attack this
skewered.
rook.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
beautiful.
sir.
Okay.
And
No, I don't know why I'm not seeing things, but thank you for helping me out because I'm having trouble seeing. So that definitely is. I see that. Like that's amazing right there. So, um,
but it was played in the game. This was played in the game, and this is played because look at this crazy sacrifice that was calculated. So the sacrifice isn't for white actually. We actually play rook a6 and defend everything. But one thing that could not be overlooked in this game is this idea of knight takes e3, which is kind of crazy. This move is really crazy. And the idea is you get all this compensation through the activity of both rooks, and it seems like your position's kind of falling apart. The queen now is kind of overloaded because you can't defend this and this at the same time. There's, again, now ideas of bishop takes h3, and if takes, then queen takes maybe, and this is looking very scary. Well, actually, I'd play rook takes here, just not trade queens. But yeah, this is very scary. Um, and
yeah,
actually, it's so scary that here white plays a game-losing mistake.
I would
They
too.
play knight
I don't blame
c5.
white because I think that looks all terrible. Like you can sack material and stuff, and Oh,
And this is crazy because it looks like such a good move, you know?
yeah,
Like,
because
you
you're
defend
gonna
your
take the
knight,
bishop.
you defend your rook, defend the bishop, defend everything. How
Yeah.
could this be bad? Well, it's bad because regardless of what you do, he's still gonna play bishop takes h3. And, but wait, isn't this blundering for black?
No.
Do we not have this resource here? Rook takes? Because now if the queen takes, we take back and we're fine, right? Actually, after takes, we need to play bishop f1. Queen g3, jumping into the attack, not even moving our bishop away from h3. Rook c2 defending, bishop attacks the rook, uh-oh. And all of a sudden, it seems like it's all falling apart. We get too much pressure here. Trade down into a better endgame here for black, and they go on to lose this game. Well, white goes on to lose this game. So I'll just skip through this real quick. The pawns are too strong.
That's crazy.
And
Because he traded down twice. He was up material, but then he did it, I guess, for the pawn. Was that what he was doing? Was he gave up the material for...
so basically,
He was up to... I'm sorry, he went quick. So he was up... He had a rook and a minor piece for 2 minor pieces. And he had pawns, but I think he gave up one... Oh, okay, yeah. So he took...
Yeah.
I see what happened.
Yeah, so now...
He double
basically what's
attacked
gonna
the
happen-
pawn, and then he took in. Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because generally everybody will say that 2 minor pieces are better than a rook, but that just it's true, yes, but it also depends on the position.
Now when you have an
Everything
A
will
and an H
always-
pawn.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main difference here. There's 2 very strong pawns, and you can't stop both.
Yeah, the A and H pawn is super strong.
So yeah, now it becomes unbearable. The pawn promotes, and GG. The better move here in this position after rook takes is to play knight c3, which is just as absurd.
Yep.
And you can tell why he didn't find this move, because it's kind of like you're giving a second pawn if they play rook takes here. And just crazy tactics. So look at this line. I'm not even going to ask you to calculate because it's crazy. Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, takes, knight takes, so it's still hitting the rook, and then we get this endgame, which is winning for white. Or we would play after knight c3, rook takes here, takes with check, threatening mate, so you have to sacrifice the exchange because this is just mate in one, unstoppable otherwise, so takes and takes. Or the third line, which would be to just play rook b2 here, which I don't think would be the best because knight takes d5, take with check, and funny enough, the king runs and escapes. And we're
Can't.
safe.
Oh yeah, they can't take there. That's interesting. So don't take the bishop. I saw that.
Yeah, and we're also hitting the queen here, which is nice. So we also get a free move here with tempo. So there's all this going on, and the position is almost unbearable here.
Well, the
black.
rook is also hit too. So
Yeah,
that's
sure. So
that knight move is pretty sweet actually.
yeah, hit both things, and
He would
yeah.
probably sack the rook for the knight, right?
If he takes this, we just take here, and we still hit the. Oh, actually, yeah, we still hit the queen, and we're threatening a queen trade, which would just benefit us. So I think this would actually be good.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I guess they played the better way. I like the way they went about it. I mean, he tried his best. He had 2 minor pieces. The pawns just on the edge of the board. Then pawns are strong. So
Yeah, and this just goes to show, like, people say this is a very boring opening. Look at how many tactics there were. It was insane, and how much you had to calculate to actually get to this point, which wasn't calculated by a GM, by the way, because he played this move. And yeah, so this is by no means a boring opening, and it's not like you're gonna get like super fail games. It's just you get more plans, you know. I've said that many times now. Probably have to stop saying it soon. So we get this same position again. We can skip through this and reach the main line. Rook e8, castles, knight f8, h3, and now bishop e6 is played, and it doesn't really interest us that much to go for this take now and play with b4, b5 again. So we switch up the plans, and in this game, Yermolinsky actually plays for rook fe1. And this is one of the plans that could have been played in conjunction with the first one, which is to play an immediate e4 push. So this is what we're trying to do for. We're not trying to build it up with f3 and then e4. We're just playing for e4, just straight e4. Now, the consequences of this is we do get an isolated pawn, because this pawn will be by itself, but that's okay. It's kind of like a IQP position, and we have many tactical possibilities, and we play for this and try and compensate for our pawn, which is weak. So, yeah, just to show why this would not be good. If you play, if you play in this position, bishop takes and then go for b4, maybe now you get hit by rook c8. So this is the difference between this position and the last, because now that they have played bishop e6, the rook can come over. If we play this, they might just take and open up this very nasty attack. Or they could play c5. So if we play b5, this is one thing to be cautious of. I said that this is good because it creates a backwards pawn, and this is a permanent weakness. But it's not if they get a chance to push this forwards, like by playing c5 here. Like if they play this whole game plan is just not good. And they can't play it here because it opens up too many attacks, too many pieces, and it only benefits black to do this.
Yeah, Ash agreed. Ash actually saw that c5 was just pushed by is good, and I agreed too, because I guess if you had it defended one more time, like maybe taking c6 is better, or taking b6, b5 is better, right? Maybe like if I don't know, I feel like the bishop's in a weird spot. Your light squared bishop, like here, because it's like defending.
This one? Or
No,
this one?
for black. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this
I
is
just
actually very typical in many openings to have a bishop defend here. Like in the
okay.
Tarrasch defense we looked at, where there's a bishop on e6.
I mean, he's got to, right? Like, I mean, you know, or you don't want him to build up pressure
Yeah,
on that d pawn.
and you remember last lesson how we talked about that idea of knight g5, interesting move,
Yeah.
taking here and then bringing bishop over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can't do this because the bishop controls.
Yep.
So that's the main distinction here. So we have to go for rook fe1 here. Okay, knight jumps back, offering the trade of bishops. Here we decline.
Go back.
We declined this trade, and we could have taken, could have played takes, rook a b1, maybe playing for b4, b5 now. A5 stops this, a3 invites it again, rook c8, b4, and then something like this, and I think black gets the better here, because it's stopping this b5 push, and they're going to jump a knight into c4, as you can see. That's not good times. We are not happy about that. So bishop f4, knight g6 really after the bishop. We can't allow it. It's not going to happen. Knight jumps around again, and just because this is a very bad piece on d7, so we get it out of the way, serve a defensive purpose, and rook a d1, knight h4. We have to take this. If we were to play something like knight e5, then we get kicked around too much because we're not prepared to play this move. They have f6. Knight g4, only move to not lose a piece. And then h5, really aggressive. So this could get really hairy for us. So much so that we actually need to make a big enough threat to survive this. So bishop g3 attacking a piece of equal value. Takes, but we're a pawn down in the end. And this is not how you want your chess games to go. So we take this, they take, And it's funny because now we are completely forced to playing e4. We can't play the idea of f3 and e4 because the bishop would take our rook. We can't play b4, b5 because of rook c8. So we kind of have to play e4 here, which he does. Takes. And how should we proceed? Knight takes or bishop takes?
Um,
Or rook takes?
yeah, I guess the rook could take. I liked the bishop taking, but I guess maybe the knight is not bad to take with either. Like maybe that's the better one. Um, what would, I just don't know where you're moving the knight after that. I guess maybe you could go to like c5 or something, or
Good.
even yeah. I don't know. I think taking with the knight is a good move, but I would probably take with the bishop or the rook. But the bishop seems better. That's what I would say. Bishop.
Perfect. You just played like a grandmaster. There you go. Bishop takes. And the idea of this is a weakness, right? And we don't really want this weakness here.
Yeah, you want to get
Of
rid of
course, we
it.
have, yeah, so one of the ideas could be bishop takes to play for d5. And then we get rid of our weakness because also the rook is lined up against the queen, which also isn't nice for him. So maybe pushing this is very beneficial. As comparison to, let's say, knight takes, it's not clear where this knight's going to go to besides c5, but really what's it doing on c5? Like, let's say bishop back, knight here, and then just like this move here. And sure, we can take this, but they'll take back, and they're fine. Actually, they'd play this takes, and also be very fine. If, by the way, on knight takes, they play queen takes d4, which is a huge mistake. There's a really cool tactic here, and I'll leave it to you in the chat to find. You could say this is a blunder.
Yeah, I was looking at. Well, the knight check doesn't work because it could be taken a few different ways, but I think importantly the queen could take it. Um, well, yeah, I don't think that the knight check works. Like knight to f6 works. Um, maybe why am I'm having so much trouble seeing stuff today. This is tough for me. Let's see. Does anybody in chat see what white has right here that makes that queen move, queen to d4, a really bad move? Maybe
And
even
while
what?
the chat's doing their thing, I'll point something out.
Sure.
I always say this, it's important to notice the tactical motifs you could have. So, what could possibly be a tactic here? Well, not really here, because that would just be a trade. The king's not really unprotected.
Yeah.
We can't target any of these easily. So, it has to be something to do with one of these two hanging pieces. And if we look at the placement of pieces, it's probably likely going to be this queen. So, something to
Yeah.
do with this queen directly is the problem.
Yeah. I was thinking something silly like even like a bishop b5 you could just do. But maybe bishop to a6 is better. Um,
Interesting. You're on the right track.
yeah. Well, maybe just bishop to c4 cuz so you can take the bishop and you have a little more pressure on that bishop you're attack. They got to move the queen at that point. Well, no, they could take the never mind, that wouldn't work. So bishop c4 wouldn't work cuz they could just take with their queen, right?
Yeah. And I think bishop a6 wouldn't work because they can play queen b4 and defend the pawn.
Okay.
Or actually
So,
just queen b6.
yeah, there you go. Holes in my plan. So they say knight to g3 seems like a decent move. I don't. That wasn't what I was looking at all. Or no, he said g3. Maybe knight to g3, g3, and then I see knight to d6 or knight to c5. Everyone wants to move the knight, is what it seems like.
Someone found the move. I'll leave it at that.
Someone found the move.
Somebody found the move.
So knight to d6 is not. It doesn't. I guess it's a move because the bishop covers it. That's kind of hard to see. I like that move because it attacks the rook.
Yeah.
So
And if you move the rook, look what happens. Now we get that idea off, but with check. Check, and you lose the queen. So there you go.
yeah, that's beautiful.
And if you
Good
move
job,
the queen
Raptor.
away, you just lose the exchange.
Raptor
So,
Jesus
that's also
got
not
it,
great.
guys. That was great. Good job. Yeah, I didn't see that. That actually took and it's because I kind of forgot about our bishop, is why I didn't see it.
God, yeah. Even if the bishop wasn't there, like even if he could take this, like let's just say he could hypothetically play takes, we could still sack 2 pieces for this. That's
Yeah.
also a
No,
motif.
no. Yeah, you're right. I just didn't see that. I don't know. It's even better because the bishop protects it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's great.
So that was the center pawn break. Now let's look at we're gonna look at 2 games actually in the center pawn break because the first game isn't really what you'd call the Botvinnik system. So
Oh, Ash
the
said it
Botvinnik
first.
system is with knight g2, and in this game you'll see he actually plays knight f3 still. So we get this set up. Develop our pieces. Queen c2, bishop d3, knight f3, castles, h3, and this is the starting position. And we'll see h6 here. And this is very common. So, again, just to highlight what will happen if you play the bishop takes f6 line here. It doesn't work that great because they can find a way to play c5 quickly. And it's not built up enough. So we get something like this. Not tremendous, you know. It's equal material, but it's not clear who really benefited from pushing this pawn all the way up if we're not going to create a weakness here. So we actually bring the bishop back. Knight e6, which was one of the moves you could play in this position. And we see here bishops at e5. And this is very common in the London system. And this is why I say that the Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation is kind of like what... How would I put this? The Queen's Gambit declined is to any d4, c4 player what Tony Hawk is to skateboarding. That may
Goat.
be... Yeah,
Goat.
goat. This is the goat opening.
Goat.
Okay? So, knight g5. We were talking about this while I was muted, or you guys couldn't hear me, so that's why I had that in my head. Knight takes, h takes, and then this is one of the main ideas they have now because this pawn is doubled. They'd like to not have a doubled pawn, so they could try and play to push this and weaken our kingside. Which brings us to a specific game plan in mind. So notice it's not even that hard to come up with these game plans. It generally depends on what your opponent is doing to you as well. So we kind of want to prevent them from playing this move. How would we do this?
You could maybe either take the knight, or you could with your bishop, or you could maybe play bishop to e2. Maybe that would help. Or you could play f3. Would kind of... I guess that doesn't stop him from doing it. It just kind of maybe helps him not do it as much.
Yeah. I'd say this is a good bishop. I don't think I'm ready to part ways with it just yet. And this bishop is also beautifully placed. Maybe some tactics here along the way. So
Sure.
also nicely placed.
Well,
so
you could
F3
just
is a
play...
forwards move.
Yeah, f3. Okay. I was about to say. Elimination.
Yeah. And then what happens is bishop d6, trying to trade these bishops off. We accept. And it's best to trade bishop for bishop. And now we're playing for this build-up, which is f3 and e4. So this is the basic game plan we're playing for now. So How do we do this? Well, we'd like to have more pieces supporting this push. So what we do first is play queen f2, and what this does is, generally when we push this forwards, we're going to create an isolated pawn. And if we do this too soon, what's going to happen is this pawn will just hang. Like, let's say push, take, and then take. And that's not too great, because it comes with check as well. So to avoid this, queen f2. And now that this is protected, we can now play our e4 push. And before this, actually, he plays rook ad1, adding extra protection to this, just for safe measure. And rook ad8, okay. Bishop b1, also a defensive move, which maintains this scope and also defends this pawn directly now. c5, really aggressive, and so you can see that c5 is very thematic in these positions, which is why many people prefer to play that a4 b4 idea, because it stops this in some positions. So this is why this is played, and actually many times in the Botvinnik system, which we'll see next, which is this with knight ge2, this is a thematic idea to play a4 and b4 as well in this setup. So c5, which is an imprecision in this position because it opens up too soon, and it only benefits white. Takes, queen takes, and now they've got an isolated pawn. They have done this way too soon, and our game plan has changed again because we don't necessarily need to play for this. If we play for this, I'm not even sure it benefits us, because sure, we get to play our e4 idea, but
He'll trade
we
queens.
were a bit... Yeah, we trade queens, and we solve their problem because they can take, and then take. And they've
It makes our
gotten rid of their
bishop
pawn.
kind of bad, at least if they, two.
Yeah, a lot of pieces are gonna come off if we play e4, which is why we play rook d4 and simply blockade this pawn. And this is the game plan now. We are now playing to blockade. They play b5 in this game, and it's a mistake. And queen g3 happens targeting this pawn. It's starting to get a bit unbearable. Things are looking strange for black, and white has an edge here. So this is one of the build-ups. Let's now look at the true Botvinnik system. So we get the same position, although through different move order. It's completely fine. Bishop d3, and then knight ge2. So this is a game by Kasparov now. Sorry, it's not. It's by Vasily Ivanchuk. Castles, knight f8, also very common. Queen c2, c6, all the same stuff, and now f3. This should also remind you a lot of the Nimzo Indian, in a sense. And the only difference between this and the Nimzo is we got the bishop out, and they didn't play bishop to b4. So this is the main difference. These moves weren't played. And sometimes in the Nimzo we play knight ge2. This is also an idea in the Nimzo to fully get this e4 push going, and the Kingside attack from there. So here f3. Knight h5, again, thematically wanting to trade these bishops off. It's forced. And here it's really forced, because if we try and go here, he's just going to take this, and he's doing good. So trade. e4 now finally comes through. You can't stop this. Takes. And this is kind of saying, I want to play for this e4 break, but I don't want to give myself an isolated pawn. So now the pawn takes back, and these two pawns are together. They're best friends forever, until one of them is captured. So knight g4, that's not a knight, that's a bishop. And we play e5 here. So just trying to open this up again. We've got some ideas trying to move these pieces into a better kingside attack position. Rook ad8, knight e4, and you can see the pieces start marching towards the king side. Knight g6.
Can I ask a question?
As well. Yeah, for sure.
How come he wouldn't take the knight on e2 with his bishop before that knight move? like before G. So you no,
Hello?
yeah, move the rook back over where it was. So rook to D8.
Uh,
Nope, no, you're good. Yep, rook D8,
okay.
and then we moved our knight. How come he wouldn't take the knight with his bishop? Like bishop takes E2. He
Just
did.
because of calculation. Just calculation. So what would happen after bishop takes e2?
Oh, because his knight. Duh. Okay, I get it
Yeah,
now. Sorry, his knight is. If his knight wasn't there, maybe what I was looking at would work. But yeah, okay, his knight. I get it.
he'd have to play like g6, which is very ugly.
Yeah, no, I get it now. I was missing. I his knight is in a weird square. That's not where most people put their knights.
For sure, for sure.
Sorry.
Uh, Knight g6 here. Knight g6 is an important move, by the way. It's good that you stopped me there because I wouldn't have mentioned this otherwise. If he doesn't play knight g6 or something like this, his rook is trapped. So we would have ideas of knight d6, trapping the rook. So this just creates a little square for the rook to run to.
Yeah.
So you could say it was played out of force, not because he really wanted to play this. Rook ad1, rook f8, just stepping off of that. h3, really aggressively kicking these pieces out. And now you're kind of forced to take this. Now you're kind of forced because the bishop just didn't have a better square. After takes, we have a very cool resource here. So black to play, and well, actually, it's not that crazy because all we do is just bring this knight over because it's supported by this knight.
Yeah. That's like your only move, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
or
basically.
defend. I mean, you can't defend with the queen unless you go queen to like H4, right? So like either way, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, very weird. But that's also an idea. They may go for this attack, and it kind of makes sense in a way because you did weaken up these dart squares a bit, so not a crazy move as well. Here, this is preferred. Bishop c4, just not trading that bishop off. King moves over, and this is a cool game, and I like it because it's like chess played really simply. He's not going to do anything crazy. He's going to play basic chess and still crush this game, which is what I love. Like, if you're really good at chess, you make it look so simple, and it makes people want to load up a game and say, "Hey, I can do this now," and they'll lose the game probably because we're not GMs, but they make it look simple, which is so nice. The f6 now. We take those takes, and this was more out of force, and now this rook is stuck defending. The king has been shattered a bit, and it's a give and take because maybe there's maybe some ideas like this and start attacking. It's not that crazy, or like this with check, but it's not very good, I'd say. This setup here for black. Knight g3, b5, trying to kick the bishop away. We retreat. It's very simple chess from now on. Push. We need to do something about this pawn. So if we really can't take this now, because it trades off too many pieces, then let's just play this move here. And now we're threatening to win a pawn. So we force them to make a decision. They choose to play queen c7 here. And to this effect, this is a move that I showed you in our very first chess lesson. You probably don't remember, but it was the simplest pin in the world. And here the same thing happens. The simplest pin in the world, rook c1. And you can't do anything about this pawn now. You have to push forwards. Okay, b3. Still working on this pin, which is very annoying. Rook f8. Take, take, take. And you can say that black is losing now. Black is effectively losing. Why? Because you need the queen to stick to this defense. If you move the queen off, then we're going to take, take, and take. So queen sticks to the defense. h4 comes in, now threatening this move, which is scary. And if you play this, then all of a sudden, takes would lose a piece, by the way. And this is just overwhelming. Knight d5, trying to defend this this pawn here, but it's not enough. Knight h5. How do you stop this pawn? You really can't. So He goes on the aggressive side and plays rook e4, trying to make something happen. How would you play from this? Because we've got a game plan here. We want to take this and win the game, but he is making a threat also. So this does require some calculation.
Oh my. Let's see. So, first off, when he wasn't looking, I would knock all of his pieces over. I'm just kidding. So this is tough. So the pawn can be taken, that's for sure, but he's attacking our pawn, which is equally dangerous. Because he has a queen on a file that can checkmate us in a move. So maybe. Oh wait, he can't actually take that pawn. Oh no, he can because of his knight. That is crazy. There is a lot here. So. Yeah. Can we get there faster would be my question. Now, riddle me this. What if we defend the pawn somehow? Like, you can't play rook to f4 because of the knights. These knights are crazy. There's not really another way to defend that pawn. I guess you could play g3, but that doesn't. I don't know. I don't think that does good things either. It's kind of slow. I think that you'd probably want to defend the pawn because it seems like they're fast. Like if you took with the rook even, that like you're still slow kind of. And so in my head,
they can be very fast.
Yeah, I feel like they're faster. So I would defend the pawn. And the only way I see to do it is to play like either rook to like h3, which like feels weird because you're gonna, I don't know, your rook might get stuck over there. Like just
Plus you're moving away from your attack. Like you want this to be here to attack. So this is a good piece.
Alright, well then I only see g3 to defend the pawn is what I see. So that's what I would play.
And g3 is a beautiful move.
It is?
G3 is a beautiful move, and it's played in the game.
Nuh-uh. Whoa! Calculation, baby, over everything. That's crazy. I can't believe that. I'm not gonna lie. Like I wouldn't have played it when we first were looking at this position, but after like talking about it, it seems like that's awesome. Okay, cool.
Which is cool because like in a rapid or blitz game, you probably wouldn't think about this.
No.
About this G3 move. But it's cool to see how your calculation can take you to moves you'd never find in your life. And this is true for everyone, for me, for you. Like, everyone will find crazy moves from calculation. And I really doubt there isn't... I really doubt there's going to be a lot of intentional, brilliant sacrifices which don't require some form of calculation at the very least. So this g3 move, very nice, and it controls this square. So now no knight jumps can get in, and the bigger theme behind this is he has the bigger long-term weakness here because this king is very exposed. This pawn has not been protected. All he did was make a threat, and this is kind of like his defense he's relying on. So if we can nullify this threat that he's created, it doesn't change the fact that this is still weak. So this still benefits us. So we can play this a bit slower because the position allows it. So g3 is indeed correct. So much so that he tries to desperately sacrifice. Takes.
Oh.
And then check. So yeah, it's not over yet. This guy will play some crazy stuff to survive. King over. Rook tries to double up to attack this sideways, and a beautiful final move here. Rook c5.
What?
Crazy stuff. Why do you think this is such a good move? Because we're eliminating the defender of this pawn here. And if this pawn falls, everything falls in his position. So this is why this is played.
That's crazy.
After takes,
yeah, you can
Rook h3 now. Oh. And if we take away this defender, the queen can just take. So we don't need the rook here anymore. The rook can slide off. Takes.
Whoa.
Takes. Queen d1 check. Queen G1 defending with a mate threat, so you have to take this. And what we get from this is just the winning endgame. We are up so much material. We don't even care about losing any of these pieces. We just push forwards. And that is game.
That is awesome. I would never. That is so pretty. I like seeing chess like that.
Let me show you a cool mate, by the way. Probably why the game wasn't played on, but if you play take, and try and defend this pawn like this, look at this move now. Rook here. How do you stop checkmate? You can't even push forwards because it's still mates.
Yeah, knights are freaking nasty.
Yeah.
That's why it's always a question: is a bishop better than a knight? It's like in a lot of circumstances, like theoretically, you would think yes, like always. But knights are so good. Like they're really tricky and they're annoying. And they
Especially
cover
for time trouble.
Yeah, they cover cool squares too. Like, you know what I mean? Like this. Like that knight can't be booted unless you already started walking your king.
Yeah. So this was a very cool game, I think. And we'll move over to the last plan now, which is the, we're not going to play for e4. We're going to play a solid positional game here. And we want to play aggressively with a knight on e5. So we're going to lock this up, kind of as if it were a Stonewall system structure. So d4, d5, Queen's Gambit declined, exchange variation. This is all just common theory. You've seen it a million times. Castles, h3. And this is the third and final plan. So this time we're going to see the trade of bishops immediately. We take those. Rook fe1. We prepare one plan, and then they play a move, which kind of makes it unviable. And again, tactical reasons. If we play push too soon, there may be ideas like takes.
Right.
Take, and take. So followed by knight f5 and mate. This can't be allowed, which is why we play in this position. Knight e5. We step out of the tactic by moving forwards, and we prepare a second game plan out of this. So knight e5, he wants to trade that knight off really badly. Well, he can do that, but we're still going to play f4 here.
Yeah, the super London knight. Like this is what you do sometimes in the London.
So let's say they takes, which they do. How would you take back?
Typically you take towards the center. But I think we have talked about this before. Because it's not just the London that this night happens. If you take with the D pawn, you're still looking pretty solid, and you don't have an open. You just don't have an open F file. So do you want to open D file or open F file? I like the open F file because the queen is on it, and you could put a rook there. But perhaps taking with the D pawn is better. Regardless, he's gonna have to move his queen with no matter what you take with. So
yeah. And touching on that, the fact that he's going to have to move his queen, we do have some tactical possibilities here. Because there's one difference in this very specific position that we did not see in any of the other games, which was he doesn't have a knight defending h7 here in this position.
Yeah, you can take it with check.
Yep. Which is why in the game is played takes. And you could also, by the way, play takes.
Okay.
And the main difference between these two moves is just that if you play takes like this, he gets queen g5. Not that this is brilliant or anything. It's the difference is very minimal here, very minimal. And but he chose to play d takes just to avoid queen g5, taking away any tactical possibilities. Because again, if you play this, then you're re-inviting this move for yourself. So just keep it simple. He plays d takes, takes a free pawn, seemingly, and then you have to move back. So, like I've said in the past, whenever we take a seemingly free pawn, we need to check to see if there's any counterplay. So, Is there any counterplay here? And if there is, how can we kind of try and neutralize this?
I was thinking trading off the light square bishop by going like bishop to f5. That would have been
Perfect.
something that I thought.
Y-
So
Yeah, because all of his tactics are based around like sacrificing and getting his pieces in and really going for checkmate quickly. So it does make a lot of sense to trade these bishops off. And as common chess knowledge goes, the less pieces on the board, the better if you're up material. So we offer a trade. Black gets really uncomfortable and kind of gets into desperation mode here and plays this move.
mm.
Wow, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff is happening now because we're threatening this. They could be threatening this if we play the wrong move. Uh, this is very not fun, uncomfortable. We can't play this because he takes. So what do we do?
Take the pawn. um,
If we take the pawn, this could invite this.
yeah, no, it's not. I didn't calculate anything. That's not that. That's just my low elo brain thinking there. Um, so I would think about taking the bishop, but like you said, it's kind of obnoxious what their pawn is doing to us right now. It's kind of, it says it's a bad move though.
Yep.
So there must be some way to be like, Yabra, you messing up. Um,
It comes down to calculation.
yeah. So if you take their bishop, they take your knight. I can then bring the bishop back to like g3 and attack their knight and then take back the pawn. Um,
More aggressive.
more aggressive. Okay. So hold on. If I take their bishop, they take my knight. I can attack their rook
Yep.
on D or play like bishop to d7 sort of thing.
Yep. Or you could play
Oh, I could play
taking here.
b7. Yeah, exactly, b7 too. Yep. So that's even better. I like that better because I get a pawn out of it and potentially even another pawn. So I like the bishop takes thing. I don't think that they have as much there. I didn't calculate what they do after I take the other pawn. I would assume they would need to move the rook because otherwise they're going to lose some material. So
True. So what
they
happens
can't
if
promote is what I mean. Like their
yeah?
pawn can't actually do much.
So if takes here, takes, they attack the rook, takes. We could also play a very slow move here, like rook b1. And then once they do move this rook, we move this bishop. Now maybe we can attack this knight, and we're threatening to win yet another pawn. Oh, actually, our bishop's
You
pinned.
yeah,
Yeah, bishop's pinned here. So,
rook to c1 maybe.
rook c1 looks fine. Um,
You don't have to do that though, right?
what?
You don't have to take the c6 pawn as quick. Like, well, I guess you do.
Yeah, I guess you can play takes, rook here, and then bishop a6 is fine as well. And then after takes rook b1, and you're completely fine. Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. I like that. I like that. Um, so in the game is played bishop takes, and he doesn't want to get into any of this, so he plays just rook takes and accepts his fate. And now to deal with this pawn, now we can take this, but we choose not to. We play knight e4 here, and they take us. The idea here is now we get a very cool move, which was
Knight to
overlooked.
d6.
Perfect. Knight d6. Okay, now he's really not feeling comfortable because if he doesn't do something here, he's going to lose an exchange, which forces him into hyper aggression. And he plays queen g3, but we're not scared. All we have to do is solidify the position, not allow any of his threats to materialize. What is he threatening?
Um, well, I guess he's threatening our f4 pawn.
Yeah, it's like knight takes f4.
Yeah. Um, And then he's threatening maybe a checkmate if we ever move our queen, but oh, I guess he's also threatening there to take h3 at that point with his knight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of slow though. Like maybe I mean his pawn can't go anywhere. If it moves forward, we can take it. Our knight is forking 2 pieces. He's got 2 moves to make before that becomes a viable threat. We could defend the pawn maybe with like a queen to like e. Oh, you could play a few different moves. You could play queen to f5 would attack the knight and defend the pawn. But then you're kind of leaving defense of being at home a little bit.
Yeah.
Queen to e4 attacks the pawn and defends our pawn. Like threatens to, like you can take their pawn on the next move if you wanted to maybe. And then you also have the knight check right now. Like you could play knight to e7 check or f7,
Yeah.
excuse me.
This
But
move isn't really a super crazy one, and it's like we're gonna lose this pawn regardless because he has 2 attackers. So it's basically the best way to deal with this. And in the game he plays rook f1 here, and I don't know. Maybe the idea is if he takes here, we can play like rook f3, and then if he takes, that's fine. We can scoot over, and be kind of okay here. If he plays then this,
well, you could
maybe we just play rook takes.
you could sack too because you're gonna get the rook back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the key here. We're always guaranteed the rook. So much so that we don't even need to take it immediately, which we'll see in the game. So it takes. We're now hitting this knight. He takes, and the reason he played this is to hit the queen in the process. But unfortunately, queen g4 stops everything. And that's just GG. Takes, takes. We're guaranteed an exchange, so this is winning. You also cannot take this, by the way, because that's just a full piece after takes and takes. And this is hanging. So knight e2 check. King walks up. They move back. And look at this move, which you mentioned, by the way. Knight takes, check, move over, and then we fork them again. We're not in any rush to capture this piece.
Yeah.
Which is very pretty.
That was why I was saying it before, was because you could just do the check and move back like it's a pawn, right? Like,
Yeah.
You know, but
You still get the pawn.
I think it's better timed here, right? You didn't
Yeah.
have to play it when I said it.
Because the queens were still on the board, and that was a bit dangerous. So
Yeah.
We weren't really guaranteed to have enough time to not get mated. So it's better here. King g3, rook moves over. Now we kind of do have to take, so we do that. And after rook f3, they resign. The reason they resign is you cannot take this pawn like this. If you do, all of a sudden, rook e1. And then you're pinned. If you take, we take with check here, and we can just save this rook here and be in the winning endgame. Let's say here, take. You get it. We're taking everything here.
Yeah, you're gonna
There's
have a
no
rook
hope.
for a knight, and you're gonna take all his pawns.
Exactly. So just to go over the game plans again, go back to the start here, and so 4 basic game plans. The first one and the most common is the queenside push, which is called the minority attack because we're attacking with 2 pawns against 4. This is the minority attack with a3, b4, b5. There is the center pawn break, which was just an immediate e4, which falls into the isolated pawn position, but is also okay. There is the center build-up with f3 and e4 to not get an isolated pawn, and there's also the outpost way to play this with knight e5 and f4. So those are the 4 ways to play this. So you'll see that you'll get a lot of flexibility and a lot of practice with this opening, which is why I like it so much. And it's very good to have different plans for in case anything goes wrong, you can play something else. So
Yeah, I like this
those
lesson
are just
because it's
some
like
features.
I've been playing the Queen's Gambit like the same exact way basically every time. So this gives me like another way to play, or a few different ways to play actually, but you know what I mean. It mixes it
Yeah,
up a little bit because I haven't been taking. I've been leaving the c4 pawn. You know.
yeah. You can try this out in Blitz. It's a good opening if when you get this down, but I would suggest practicing a bit on Rapid
Mm-hmm.
and just or longer time controls, like let's say daily games or something. It's good to get that practice in first because you get a better feel for, okay, when is this the appropriate plan to play for, or when should I play for this or that? In some games it was really obvious, like in the game where we wanted to stop this G4 push, we play F3, and then like that's very clear indicator to play this system. But sometimes it depends. Sometimes it's not as clear. So playing it on longer time formats does help with that. And that's about it for today, man.
Dude, thank you very much for today's lesson. I think everyone in chat enjoyed. And again, I'm sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream, but hopefully we get that fixed in the future.
No problem, man. Hope everyone enjoyed it, and hope you guys had a good time. I sure did. I really enjoyed giving you guys lessons and helping people get better at chess. That's one of my passions in life. So I'm glad and grateful that I can be here and showing you guys this stuff.
Well, thank you very much for letting us stream it because I think everyone really enjoys it, and I obviously love our chess lessons. So I don't want to give them up. So your link to your YouTube is in my description if anyone is interested in checking out his channel. I think he has a lot of his tournament play videos on there. Do you have any? Is it mostly just your tournament play? I haven't
Yeah, I
checked
have a lot
all
of
your
tournament
videos.
play. I make a Road to National Master Series. So I'm trying to get my NM title for anyone that doesn't know. And I've been on that journey for a while, and I have some really cool games there, really crazy stuff. When I play FIDE rated games, I give it my all, so really interesting stuff there. But I do make lots of instructive content as well, like climbing the ladder, how to get better at chess, that kind of stuff. So there's stuff for everybody.
And if you guys want more chess lessons that are taught by your Mr. Chile here, then you guys can show up every Wednesday. We probably won't stream every single lesson, but we stream them pretty often. Chile's down to he agrees to let me stream them, so this is going to be something that we do on Wednesdays at this time. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much, Chile, for the lesson again, and I guess I'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
Perfect, man. You're very welcome. And see you guys. See you, chat. And see you next week, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. All right.
You too, man. Take it easy.
Yep.
Bye.
Don't. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, he's going for the NM. He's really good at chess, man. Like, it's really cool that he plays in our tournaments and stuff because you could tell when you play him when he's tired or when he's just trying to play for fun or doing whatever. He's really cool, man. He'll play maybe not down to people's levels, but he'll like make it interesting for people at all levels of chess. He's really good at teaching. As you can see, he's pretty good at explaining. He's pretty soft-spoken. He's a calm, collected dude. I love Chile. He's a good dude. He actually is Kiwi Chess's chess coach. So he reached out to me months ago, months and months and months ago. It's been a while. But he reached out to me months and months and months ago and asked me if I wanted lessons, and I told him I couldn't afford them, and he worked with me on the price and got it to where I could actually afford it. And I knew he was a cool dude, so I was like, we'll do it for a trial period, but I ended up just keep doing it because I do enjoy the lessons, and I think you guys do too. Oh, I will, Ash. Yeah, you're right. Like, this is really good for me. I don't think he understands how, like, actually helpful this lesson in particular was for me because I just, new opening things that give me new plans in my opening is exactly what I need. Like, this was perfect. He is exposing me. Yes, Ash does know my repertoire because literally I just play it like every time against Ash. Like, so it's tough, but yeah. Thank you so much for the lesson today, Chili. Very good lesson. I thought that this was like super helpful for me, so I'm gonna have to make sure I go back over this one and check it out a few more times because this is gonna be one of the ones that I like bookmark and come back to look at quite a few times in the future. Well, thank you guys all for being here. That's kind of all I got for you guys today. It's just a chill Wednesday. I'm not gonna play any more chess or anything. I'm gonna go eat some food and get some rest. I'm tired. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you guys tomorrow. It's Thursday tomorrow, so we're going to do a chess variant day. So we could play some standard chess too if you want to, but I think we're going to try and do like, if we don't play 960, I think it'd be fun to play like another variant of chess. So maybe we'll just play like a bunch of different variants tomorrow and just have some fun. See if you guys enjoy that. Yeah. That's all I got. I hope y'all have a wonderful afternoon, night, morning, whatever it is for you guys. I will catch y'all on the next one. See you later.